Just because the old lady gave her grandson an unknown pill, it ended up causing her own grandson to collapse on the operating table. The doctor angrily blamed the parents for being irresponsible, saying feeding the child unknown substances caused organ failure and made the rescue more difficult. The husband originally thought it was his wife's fault. The wife explained that she hadn't given their son anything. Then the old lady showed up and said the surgery's success must be thanks to her pill. Only then did they realize the cause. It turned out the boy had a congenital heart condition, but fortunately, the doctors had found a way to treat it. The surgery could be done in 7 days. To ensure nothing went wrong during that time, the daughter-in-law repeatedly told the mother-in-law not to give the boy any of her supplements. Even though the woman reminded her several times, the mother-in-law firmly believed those products were good for the body, so she ignored her daughter-in-law's objections and bought another batch of supplements. Faced with her stubborn mother-in-law, the daughter-in-law felt helpless. Seeing that neither side could convince the other, the husband quickly stepped in to calm them down, but he clearly took his mother's side. He said his mom was just doing it for their grandson's sake, so there was no need to stop her. Because of the husband's favoritism, the mother-in-law began buying supplements like crazy. But this time, what she brought home wasn't for herself. It was meant to treat her grandson's heart condition. She didn't care whether it was licensed or not, and couldn't wait to make her grandson try it. Luckily, the daughter-in-law stopped her in time. She explained to her mother-in-law that not only would the stuff not cure the boy, it could actually make his condition worse. But no matter how much she explained, the mother-in-law refused to listen. Because she had spent $20,000 on it, she insisted her grandson had to try it no matter what. The woman was shocked when she heard the price. So, she scolded her mother-in-law for wasting money right in front of her husband. But the mother-in-law believed she was helping her grandson get better. As the argument went on endlessly, the sensible little boy quickly pulled his mom away to rest in the bedroom. The next day, the grandmother took her grandson for a pre-op checkup at the hospital and asked the doctor about his condition. The grandmother believed that after the surgery, her grandson would be completely cured. But the doctor couldn't guarantee that, and gently warned her there might be complications. That very sentence made the grandmother lose faith in the hospital doctors. She even brought up the supplements she had bought. The doctor said unregulated, unapproved products shouldn't be given to children. They could very well interfere with the surgery. No matter how kindly the doctor tried to explain, the mother-in-law was stubborn and insisted on doing things her way. She believed that the $20,000 supplement she bought might actually cure her grandson. So, while her daughter-in-law wasn't watching at night, she sneaked into her grandson's room and gave him 2 pills. But what she didn't know was that this exact action pushed her grandson to the brink of death. Soon, it was the day of the surgery. Everything went smoothly at first, but something went wrong during the final stage. The doctor rushed out of the OR to notify the family. They had confirmed the child's condition was caused by taking unapproved substances. The wife broke down, insisting she hadn't fed the child anything harmful. Just then, the old lady who brought food walked up, happily expecting her pills to have worked. The daughter-in-law furiously accused her mother-in-law of harming her son. The mother-in-law said she had only given them to her grandson because someone told her they cure everything. Not only did she not reflect on her actions, she even accused the hospital doctors of trying to scam them. The daughter-in-law pleaded with the doctor to do everything they could. The doctor said the child's life was saved, but he was unlikely to live past 30. When she heard this, the woman broke down and yelled at her mother-in-law for being so irresponsible. The mother-in-law, emotionally overwhelmed, said she'd rather die for her grandson. The husband, sensing the situation getting out of hand, held back his mother and once again sided with her. His wife, furious, stormed off. Soon the whole neighborhood had heard about it. Everywhere the mother-in-law went, people whispered behind her back, so she constantly bottled up her anger. One day, she saw a free medical consultation downstairs. She asked the doctor there to examine her, but that dishonest doctor ran some tests and told her she had lung cancer. At first, the mother-in-law doubted his credibility, but then the nurse said he was a chief physician at a top hospital and very experienced. She assured her that he couldn't be wrong. The doctor even showed her a fake lung scan showing cancer spread. The mother-in-law believed him right away. She immediately spent $30,000 on a jade magnetic therapy mat. Her daughter-in-law saw her lying on the bed and asked what was wrong. She said she had cancer and was now in treatment. When the daughter-in-law saw what she was lying on, she instantly realized the mother-in-law had been scammed again. She said she could take her to the hospital for real tests, but the mother-in-law refused to go, insisting that the $30,000 jade mat would cure her cancer. Seeing she couldn't convince her, the daughter-in-law turned to leave for work, but the mother-in-law stopped her, saying she needed someone to take care of her. With no choice, the daughter-in-law cut some fruit and placed it by her bedside. Everything was ready. Her boss called, urging her to get to work quickly, but the mother-in-law insisted she shouldn't leave. She said the daughter-in-law didn't earn as much as her son anyway, so she might as well quit and take care of her. Soon enough, the woman received a call saying she was fired. She angrily complained to her husband about his mother. To her surprise, her husband didn't take her side and said since she was fired, she should focus on the family. But the mother-in-law got even more out of control. She got scammed into buying tons of expensive, useless stuff. Soon, she had blown through her $300,000 retirement savings, yet she still wouldn't give up. She even wanted her son to borrow money for her. At that point, her son had finally had enough. When he heard she had spent $300,000 in just a few days, he said she needed to reflect on her actions and refused to lend her more money. When she saw her own son didn't back her up either, she stormed out of the house in anger. She decided she'd figure out a way to make money herself. While she was thinking about what to do, her neighbor showed up dressed in luxury. She asked where all that came from. The neighbor said she bought it all with her own money, didn't rely on family at all. The mother-in-law asked what kind of business made so much money. The neighbor said she had made $500,000 recently trading stocks. When she heard how profitable it was, the mother-in-law couldn't resist and asked her to take her along. Little did she know, she was falling into yet another trap set by scammers.